born in a Christian family, and a very involved family. My father was a pastor for over 30 years in the Church of God. He went to Anderson University. My grandfather went to Anderson College after World War II, and he was a pastor for 68 years before he passed away. And you'll often see me wear a blue suit jacket. It has his 50-year pin on it. They got their start in Covington, Kentucky. Grandpa went to God's Bible College before he went to Anderson, and then World War II happened. Met my grandmother, came to Anderson. They were at several churches in Fort Wayne, in Hammond, different areas, Fort Wayne, Auburn, Lima. Dad was Grandpa's associate at Grandpa's church that he planted in Fort Wayne, which was Woodview Church of God. Then after that, Dad got called up to First Church of God in St. Joe, Michigan. And we were there for many years before we went to Findlay, where I would meet Heather.
Best meeting of your life, right?
We met in a nursing home.
Yes.
She's 2 years older than I am, and I came home and told my mother, I've met a gal at the nursing home. She thought I met some old lady. I didn't tell her she was only 2 years old.
Yeah. You said you met an older lady at the nursing home, right?
I did.
Yeah.
And
you liked
older
her.
than
Yeah.
Very much.
Yeah.
But for 25 years, up until the North American Convention of the Church of God, which you will know as the camp meeting that happened outside, in Anderson really, right on the college campus at Warner Auditorium, we never missed a year. We had the same camp spot. I went to Kids Place, and I was saved at 6 years old. They used to have a thing for the kids called Kids Place, and it was in Park Place School. And it was for any and every kid that would come. They'd have, 200 or 300 kids. Like a giant VBS, and they would do marketplaces, and they'd bring in missionary speakers, and I don't know if any of you are familiar with Pastor Bob Moss. He worked for many years, still works for the Church of God Ministries. His daughter, Erin Moss Taylor, who is now a pastor, was our group leader, our VBS Sunday school teacher, and at 6 years old, she was the one that led me to the Lord. And very early on at 6, I know this sounds cliche, but it is true. I knew from 6 that this was what I was supposed to be doing.
Wow.
And I've gone gung-ho ever since.
Yeah.
The Lord kind of slowed me down, and I had to wait. But this past September, the Lord gave an opportunity for us to move from Findlay to come to pursue my dream, to pursue God's dream for us at Anderson, and everything absolutely just fell into place.
Awesome. Well, some people may not have a clue how old you are. How old are you, Brent?
I'm 28.
He's 28 years old. Okay. Just in case you're wondering, now you know.
Heather's 30.
Wow.
Her birthday is 2 weeks after mine, so if I disappear, you'll know why.
Yeah. All right, Brent. Recently, you've been through a lot of transitions.
Many.
Yes. And so, where you just came from, what led you here, and what you're doing outside of leading worship here. And just talk about some of the many transitions. Because at some point in time, not that long ago, you were in a home that you were renting, near family, with 2 solid jobs.
Yes.
What's happened since then? How long ago was that?
Well, when Dad took the youth pastorate at Stonebridge Church of God in Findlay, Ohio, we moved. My first week at school was September 11th, 2001. And I can remember that very distinctly. My mom had taken me into Washington Elementary School to register me for the 4th grade. And on the TV that was sitting on the, secretary's desk or what have you, it was just one of those old antique things with the tubes.
Right.
And I remember very clearly the second plane hitting. So that made a very distinct impact. But we were in Findlay up until last year. I was the worship director at Maranatha Bible Church. We were there, 4 years, 5 years at Maranatha? I was in that role for about a year.
Probably about three and a half to 4.
3.5 to 4 years. And we just thoroughly enjoyed it. The Lord was really moving, and is still moving. And we're thankful that He does move. But, I like to do concerts. I love to do concerts. I'm a very musical guy. I love the Gaithers. I love the music of Dino and all these different guys. Doug Anderson, Don Moen, Stephen Curtis Chapman, Michael W. Smith. So we started a concert series at Maranatha Bible Church. We brought in Ernie Haas and Signature Sound. And some other guys, and one particular guy I was working for was Dino Kartsanakis. He's been around a long time. He went to Juilliard School of Music, played at Carnegie Hall, traveled all over the world. Well, last January, I called him up and said, "Hey, Dino, we'd like to have you come to our church." He said, "Well, that sounds great. Would you be happy to get us some other churches?" Well, with the rich heritage and history that I have, I got out my Church of God yearbook and Rolodex and called all the pastors. So we put together, about 21 churches in about a 2-month period.
A month and a half.
And Dino called and said, "Well, hey, we need some drivers." He's 78, and I think Cheryl is 74-ish. And so we said, "Well, I've never driven and anything that large." And Heather said, "Well, you should never drive anything that large." She doesn't like it when I drive a scooter. But anyway, we called Dino up and said, we think we'll do that. It was scary to be certain. I had it wasn't a $1 million job, but I had a fairly nice job with health insurance and perks and vacation, and Heather had a good job. We turned in our 2-week notice. We prayed about it and said, "Lord, if you're willing, if this is the right thing, we'll do it." So we packed our stuff up. We went out to Branson, Missouri, and picked up Dino and his wife in a 32-foot Winnebago, and on the road again, going places that I've never been. And it was just neat to see. We were in every denomination you could think of: Baptist, Methodist, you name it, we were there. And we grew a lot. It was very challenging. It was very stressful. It was all the things you imagine something like that would be. There were tears, there was joy, there was rejoicing. Of course, with Dino's age, and I'm not saying age is a bad thing, but 21 concerts in 21 days is very intensive. To give you a little example, we were in Fort Wayne, just south of Fort Wayne in Decatur, with Jamie Conklin. He's the worship pastor with Don and Chris Smith at Decatur Church of God. We performed there Saturday night. 6 o'clock the next morning, we had to drive all the way to Phillipsburg, Kansas. 18 hours straight. And so, that's hard on anybody. So the end of the tour came, and Dino wanted us to move to Branson. He said, "You got one day to make a decision. We want you to tell your landlord you're going to leave." And we really respected our landlords. We liked them. We didn't feel... I was really upset. I was crying in the RV, and I said, "Lord, what do you want me to do?" And Heather said, "If I give you one option, you get one chance at this. What do you want?" I said, "I want to go to Anderson. I want to go back to school. I want to fulfill the purpose and the calling God has placed on my life, to finish school and to be the pastor God has called me to be." So I called up Juan Butron, my admissions counselor. I said, "Hey, Juan, we had planned for me to come in August. That's not going to happen now. What are the chances we can come now?" Juan worked tirelessly along with Dr. Marianne Hawkins, the Dean of the School of Theology, along with several others. And in one day, in, September? Early October. And one day we came, I met with my admissions counselor. We left with financing for the school. We left with a place to live. We left with a job for me to work as a part-time janitor at Park Place. And one day.
And you were coming in as a sophomore.
And I was coming in as a sophomore. 48 of my credits had transferred.
Nice.
And they have a really neat program now at the college. It's really meant for adults. And they're doing this not only in the School of Theology, as I understand, but also with education. They have a 5-year program. It's called a 4+1. You get a Bachelor of Christian Ministries and a Master of Divinity in 5 years. And so that's...
So that was all in the last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's quite a bit of transition and change and uncertainty, certainly financial uncertainty. A lot of that was that.
And
moving away from family.
We were at, well, yes, I've moved around a lot, and I love people. I don't care who you are, where you are, if you have tattoos, if you don't have tattoos. I just love you. I've never met a stranger. The only stranger I've met is me, and I get stranger every day. And that's okay. That's who God has called me to be. But Heather had never left Finley. In 30 years, she had always, so this was hard. When we first got married, we're celebrating our 7th wedding anniversary in June. But when we first got married in 2013, I wanted to come right away. In fact, I had interviewed at Gaither Family Resources for a job, and I was ready to go,
Right.
like the Calvary, and come on over, but God said, wait.
More like it, I said wait.
And she said, wait. And like a dutiful husband I am, I said, yes, dear. And so here we are. And I'm just excited and thankful and blessed. So we went out to eat one Sunday. I was at Park Place. And literally just moved in. Heather wasn't even here with me yet. We didn't have anything in the apartment yet. And Marvin took me out to Mancino's. Marvin is the head facilities manager at Park Place. And his wife Brenda was with him. And she said, hey, this guy Ryan has posted something on their Facebook page that they need a worship director. We think you would really be a good fit. Then Doug Anderson saw it on Facebook, and he called me up and said, hey, Brent, have you considered this? And I wasn't really looking for anything. I wasn't really seeking anything. And the Lord just placed it on my heart. And let's call Ryan. Let's check it out. And immediately I checked out the Facebook page. We came that first Sunday and we played What a Beautiful Name. And immediately I fell in love with the church and with everyone here, every single one of you. And we're just thankful. What a rich blessing. And the growth that has even happened in a month in my life.
Yeah.
It's unfathomable.
It's the challenge. It's that pressure that causes you to grow.
And I'm thankful.
And you've had a lot of pressure and change, and yeah.
And that's all right.
Yeah.
That is.
I have a very important question because we've talked a lot about your socks.
I love socks.
Okay, so
I have some suits that match my socks.
So I had to ask you, Brent. What's up with the socks? When did you become infatuated with weird, crazy socks?
Well, many years ago, there's a backstory to this. Many years ago, in high school, went down the road for a whole summer intensive at IU campus. It was called Pipe Organ Encounter. And from the day I got out of high school until the day to the day that school started, I went through master classes, learned how to play the pipe organ and all. So when I got back to Findlay a couple of years ago, fast forward, I went down to play for a Lutheran church. Their organist was out. She had some health problems, and I went in my suit and my tie and a very nice pair of Argyle socks. Very bland, like frosted flakes. I mean, it just normal striped Argyle socks. And this lady came up to me afterwards and said, how can you wear those unholy socks in this church? And she just threw a fit. She wanted me fired that day. So the pastor, he said, don't listen to her. He said, we don't care what socks you wear. So the next week I went in a pair of the most outrageous socks you could find. And that started the socks.
Oh my goodness.
So, here you go.
Yeah.
I don't care what you wear to church. For me, I like a suit. My grandfather wore a suit. My dad wore a suit. It doesn't mean anything to anyone other than that's me giving my best to God. It doesn't mean you have to wear a suit. It means that's what makes me me. That's me showing the Lord my love language. And that's okay. So there's
the story of the sock. Well, I like that story because you wore regular plain socks. And this lady, you told me, she literally was like, basically telling you you're going to go to hell because of the socks you were wearing.
Oh yeah.
That's what she said to him.
Yeah.
And so he came back the next week with some crazy SpongeBob socks or something, just to say
great.
You're wrong. You know.
Pastor Steve.
I think that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that's a neat background. So there's actually a reason.
There is a reason, and now they just stuck, and I like them.
So the reason is because you believe that what you wear doesn't matter.
No.
Yeah.
It has that. No. Sorry. I promise I made it through puberty. No. Anyway.
You're gonna get yourself in trouble.
Oh, I'm far back. Trouble's back there. Trouble's back in the other county.
I got a serious question for you. I'm afraid. Here's the question. I'm afraid people see you and make quick judgments like I did. All right. You're very optimistic, right? You always seem to be happy and blessed. You know the type. Happy and blessed all the time. Everything's cool always. Life is grand. Happy and blessed. What would you say to somebody who either thinks you're faking it or that you're naive to the real world? How would you answer that question?
Well, that's a twofold question, and each and every one of us go through battles: personal battles, addiction battles, depression battles, family battles. Your kids are on drugs. Your family's got cancer. If we all wore what was on our hearts, it'd be a depressing place to be. Really, it would. I mean, we've never lived in a more scarier time as far as I'm concerned. We've got Facebook blasting us, we've got CNN blasting us, we've got Fox News blasting us, we've got iPhones. You know, it can really be a very scary, depressing place. And my call as a minister is to show the love of God and grace. Do I have crappy days? Oh, absolutely. This last 2 weeks has been horrible. I've had papers and tests and exams, and I just feel kind of like crap. But what's that going to do for someone else who maybe lost a daughter, who maybe does have a son on drugs, or this or that? My calling as a pastor is to lift you up. We need to be optimistic. God sent his own son Jesus to die for us. That's a precious gift. And I might be the only example of Jesus someone ever sees.
Sure.
And I don't want my sour attitude, my depression, or whatever to be their stumbling block.
Sure.
Because I'll come before the judgment throne, as we all will, and the Lord will say one of two things: well done, my good and faithful servant, or he'll say, depart from me, I never knew you. And my grandma, Beverly Larson, her real name is Beverly Anna Larson. She was born in Brazil. Her parents, my great-grandparents, went to Moody Bible College in the early 20s. And they were assigned to Brazil. My grandma was born on the mission field. And I forget the name of the town, I've got it written. But she always has such a happy outlook on life, even though she's riddled with osteoporosis. And she's been one of my big inspirations.
Sure. So is there any, I'll ask you a question to counter that question. So if you meet somebody who, I guess here's a balance question. Is it important to you to be able to be relatable to somebody?
Well, you have to be
who may be
relatable.
going through something, and if your approach of God is good all the time, which is true, if that approach pushes somebody off because they don't believe you, is there any balance to be relatable to?
Well, you have to
share, like, you know what, my life's going pretty bad too. Let's talk about it.
You have to meet them where they're at.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to meet them where they're at, and they have to be willing to meet you where they're at. So there's a very,
Sure.
It's like ballet.
Yeah.
It's a very fine dance.
So you'd be willing to be vulnerable with somebody.
Oh, absolutely. And I know I've been vulnerable with you.
Yes, you have.
I've been vulnerable with some others.
Yeah.
But absolutely, you've got to meet them where they are.
Yeah.
Whether it's the guy at the coffee shop. You know, I like to go every Saturday, as I'm willing or as I'm able to. I like to go down to the Anderson Grill. There's 4 other guys, and then I go with other friends during the week. But there have been times or places I've gone down, and I'll just sit with a complete stranger and just say, "Hey, how can I pray for you today?" Or tell me what's going on in your life.
Nice.
And that really is effective.
Have you ever doubted your call to ministry?
I know this sounds corny and cheesy, but no, I really haven't.
Okay.
There have been times of trial and tribulation and wondering, what the heck am I doing here? And then the Lord kind of says, well, check your power, Brent. Don't get too big for your boots.
Yeah.
I'm the boot maker.
Right.
And that's a humbling thought at best.
He's a boot maker.
So there will continue to be painful moments, and I would be naive at best to think next week, next month, next year, 10 years from now, there will still be painful trials.
Right.
But how do we deal with them? How do we move forward for the kingdom of God?
And that's the balance, that's the struggle. Yeah, so I just wanted people to know that you weren't living in a little religious bubble, not
Nope.
understanding that there's
And I've had
real
friends.
pain.
I've had friends that have tried to kill themselves. I've had friends that have had drug struggles, pornography struggles. I've been there with them through that. There's no such thing as a perfect world. But if I can be happy and lift someone up, we had a pastor for how long did we go to the upper room in Finley? There was a Pentecostal church, Church of God, out of Cleveland, Tennessee, that we went to in Findlay, Ohio, called the Upper Room Church of God, and their senior pastor was there for 35 years. He pretty much started that church. His name was Terry Macbeth. He rebaptized me. But anyway, wonderful man of God, and he went through a lot of serious trials and tribulations at the church, but he in town is known as Pastor Happy. From the biker guys to the gangs to anyone in town. he's known as Pastor Happy, and they don't make fun of him or judge him for that. And he's been a wonderful blessing, and that's where I take that from. I want to be known as Pastor Happy.
Sure. That's good answer. Just a couple more. We'll be done.
Oh, we're just getting warmed up.
I know. What's one or two things that you've liked and appreciated about this church so far?
The feeling at home in the presence of Jesus. I know that sounds corny, but you can come in, you can be yourself wherever you're at on your walk, and they'll meet you where you are on that walk. And I felt at home right away.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't like my suit.
I did.
That's okay.
I did.
Eric did.
Oh, yeah. No, I did feel right at home right away, and I think Heather did as well. And we're just so happy to be here.
That's a cool, home is a good word. And when you feel at home, you don't feel like you have to be somebody or not. And so I hope that that's true for others that come in here.
I don't have to put on a show.
That they feel at home. Yeah.
And in fact, very early on, from the first time we went out to eat, you said, be yourself. And I've been myself, the real deal, like it or not. What you see is what you get.
That's right. We'll find out during the vote. Yeah. Last one. Share a great joy we can be celebrating with, and also share a struggle that we can be praying through with you. So a joy and a struggle.
A joy is being married to my best friend. Struggle is school. It's getting a lot harder, and trying to balance everything that I have, especially the classes. See, I didn't come in with freshman classes because I had 48 credits. I'm now at a junior and senior level. So I'm taking junior and senior level classes, and they're not the traditional PowerPoint or I take these notes, this is what's going to be on your quiz. No, they're expecting you to remember everything you've had. So I've got some really, like this fall I'm going to have to take hermeneutics and eschatology and Greek or Hebrew, whichever language I choose, and those are not easy classes.
Right.
And I'm in an ethics class right now that is a discussion style junior level, senior level class, and it's just very challenging.
Sure.
So
we'll be praying through with that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for being up here on the hot seat.
No problem.
One of the things I've been challenged Brent is to say we're gonna sing a song together, and I've asked Brent all right. One of the things you may be wondering is, are you willing to be flexible on learning some new songs and some new styles? And so I sent him a song last night that I would love for us to worship to as we finish out. And we're going to sing this song together, and I think you'll know it. And so we're going to worship together, and it's real simple. Make sure you don't transpose or anything, or we want to be in the key of G.
We're good.
Yeah, okay, good. And so we're just going to sing this song together, and then you guys can be dismissed, and hopefully you've learned a little bit more about Brent Beggs, and you can, go say hi to them after service, and just, let them know that you're praying for them, all that. But we're going to sing this song that I think you're going to know. In fact, you can stay seated if you want to. If you want to stand up, you can, but it's going to be real chill. It goes like this. Lord, I come, I confess, bowing here, I find my rest, and without you, I fall apart. You're the one that guides my heart. Lord, I need are dismissed. Have a great rest of your weekend. And go love somebody this week. All right?